I am Sophia A Jackson, the editor and founder of Afridiziak Theatre News, and I'm joined today with Jonzi D, who is the artistic director of Breakin Convention. And we are talking about a new show called Social DisDancing, not distancing, DisDancing, and it's opening this weekend at Sadler's Wells. I've got some questions for you. So I'm really pleased that Breakin Convention is still able to take place this year, considering the year that we've had, and especially as it's such a permanent fixture for that first bank holiday in May. I love the name of the show, Social Distancing. Who came up with that?
Who do you think now? Come on. Nah, seriously, it's something that occurred to me when we first had the first lockdown, and just the term social distancing, which I've always struggled with, because actually, isn't it physical distancing that we should be practicing?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But the term social distancing makes me think, this is suggesting that the idea of humanity, which is being sociable, do you know what I mean? That's a big part of what we do. It feels as though that's been incorrectly defined, you know what I mean? Because it's physical distancing. So keeping that in mind, I thought to myself, the words distancing, let's look at that and unpick that. And don't dance, yeah? Don't dance, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the reason why the name come about, because, you know, right now, dance, I think, is something that can be healing. Do you know what I mean? So actually, I think to dance is going to be something that's going to help keep us alive.
Definitely. Yeah, and that is something that you can do by yourself without, you know, bothering anybody else. Even if you do, I've seen people in the park dancing by themselves, which I didn't see before the pandemic, but people have felt the need to express themselves wherever they can. Which is really nice. So what is social distancing about? Is it an ode to the global pandemic, or?
It's far from it, really. It's you know, for all those that have been to Breakin Convention before, including yourself, it's the same idea of different performances, but unfortunately, we're going to have to observe coronavirus guidelines. So usually Breakin Convention is a very immersive, interactive experience, you know what I mean? We have our little ciphers in the break time and stuff where everybody's getting up close and personal and, you know, being able to touch each other, I guess, within the context of hip-hop dance, you know? And we can't do that. We just can't do that. We have to get everybody into the theatre, sit them down in their socially distanced compartments of little bubbles, and then when the show finishes, we have to lead everybody out as quickly as possible. So it's a 1 hour show. Usually Breakin Convention is like 3 hours, do you know what I mean?
Well, 3 days.
3 days, actually, you're right. Well, this we are going for 3 days, actually, but we're keeping the same program, and we're doing a Friday night, a Saturday night, and a Saturday afternoon. This is the first time Breakin Convention's ever done a matinee, and it's because we've got a very nice, tight hour of work to show, do you know what I mean? So it's allowed us to be able to do it twice, 2 programs. Yeah.
And as the founder of Breakin Convention, can you tell us more about the lineup and who you've included?
Okay.
Who made the cut? Because obviously, normally it's 3 days, and you've had to condense what you would normally offer. How did you decide who, and how did you decide what kind of format you would be doing it in as well?
Okay, so normally it's an international festival.
Yeah.
The closest that we're getting to international is now Birmingham. So the program is, firstly, we've got A.I.M, which is the UK's, I wouldn't say the UK's first, but I'd say the UK's top female popping crew. Yeah, we've got some of the dopest female poppers out there. They're all part of one crew. They're choreographed by Sean Amy, originally of Plague. And yeah, it's just beautiful work. They really work well, these sisters, and it's an absolutely beautiful group of women that are performing together. And you know, they say a lot in relation to female empowerment, and yeah, I just think it's a really important message, particularly this year. Do you know what I mean? We need to give everybody a voice. Do you know what I mean? Next up in the program from Birmingham is a duet from the company O'Driscoll, and it's a guy called Jamal and a b-boy called Marius. They're both b-boys, and their work is, I guess, it's looking at mental health, but as movement, and looking at support between men. Again, this is something that we really need to look at a lot more, particularly going forward in this world that we're in today. You know, and men expressing love with each other. Do you know what I mean? Not necessarily sexual love, but just brotherly love. Do you know what I mean? And you know, we want to heighten all them kind of aspects as well. And then last but not least, we have the mighty Boy Blue Entertainment.
They changed their name to just Boy Blue now.
Oh, really? You know some stuff that I don't know.
I'm sure Anna Goodman said that to me.
Yeah?
She said it's just Boy Blue now, but I mean,
okay.
I might.
Okay, let's say this. Boy Blue, they entertain. So
just to cover ourselves.
Yeah, just to cover ourselves. But they're doing a new piece which they've been working on. I've seen little clips of it at the Barbican. That's going to be fresh, super fresh. And actually, there is an additional thing. As a result of the COVID restrictions, and after each act has performed on stage, the stage has to be completely cleaned and disinfected before the next act goes on.
So how are you going to entertain the audience then?
By showing film in these breaks. Okay. So we've got one film by the remarkable, Far From the Norm, the choreographer Botis Sever, who's created this film about being stuck in lockdown, which is amazing. And also I'm showing my directorial debut, because I don't normally direct film, but I made a film called Our Bodies Back, which was influenced by what happened to George Floyd in the summer. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was having a conversation with Alistair Spalding about it at Sadler's Worlds, and he called me asking about getting a dancer for another film. And because the original dancer pulled out as a result of the George Floyd demonstrations. Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, she's absolutely right. We shouldn't be doing anything. Art should be on hold for now, unless it's dealing with this situation.
Yeah.
So he said, Jonzi, I hear you. Here's some money. Go and make your film about the scenario. So I got in contact with a dear friend of mine, poet Jessica Care-Moore. She's incredible. Like 20 years ago, about over 20 years ago, actually, she won Showtime at Apollo 5 times in a row. Nobody's ever done that before.
That's impressive.
It really is. So she basically presented this poem, and then I got Soweto Kinch to give it a musical accompaniment. And then I worked with 3 dancers. One, Nafisa Baba, amazing dancer. She won BBC Young Dancer a few years back.
Yeah, I think we did her actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you did. And she's absolutely amazing. And then another dancer in Montreal, a woman called Axel Ebony. And the final dancer, B-Girl Manuela, and she did her piece in Hanover. All of these women are African women who, I guess, are displaced in different ways. And they all responded to Jessica Care-Moore's poem, We Want Our Bodies Back, which is basically looking at the female body and the way in which it's been violated, do you know what I mean, by systemic racism. And it's, if I should say so myself, I think it's an incredible film, and I don't normally big myself up like that, but this one deserves it.
So is that being premiered at Breakin Convention?
It's not actually. It was premiered on the Sadler's Wells digital stage, so you can actually see it now. But I think in the context of the big screen, I think we're going to see so much more about the piece. Whereas more often than not, we're watching things on our iPhones and stuff.
Yeah,
so
it'll be a treat, I think, being able to see it in that format. And how long is it?
It's 5 minutes, that film. And Botus's, I think, is 7 minutes. Just enough time to disinfect the space for the next act.
Perfect. So not only are they getting a performance, they're also getting your directorial debut film as well.
Yes.
Is that all of the lineup?
That is all of the lineup. If you also want to include myself hosting, but I tend to forget about that because that's a given. I don't know, man. It feels like such a reduced program. Whereas usually, do you know what I mean? Usually Breakin Convention is absolutely packed to the rafters, not only of people, but of products, you know what I mean? Of performances. And yeah, usually over the 3 days, not one day is the same. Do you know what I mean? This time it is the same. But hopefully we will sell out as usual.
Hopefully. And are you doing any live graffiti or anything like that? No.
No live graffiti. Well, not until next year, once all these stupid restrictions are done. I believe that we're going to be doing some stuff at the Olympic Park. And we're going to be doing some, like, basically, did you ever come to the park jam that we do?
No, I want to take my daughter, though. She's old enough to come now, but yeah.
How old is she?
She's 6.
Listen, we have babies coming through. I remember we had a footballer, what's his name? Jan Vertonghen. He used to play for Tottenham. And he came down to Breakin Convention with his 2 babies. Do you know what I mean? And I think what I love about what we do is that it's family entertainment. Do you know what I mean? And for me, hip hop, you know, I grew up with hip hop in the early 80s as a 13-year-old, you know what I mean? So for me, I really engage with it because I do think that hip hop culture, there's a youthful quality to the culture that I think over the last 20, 30 years has changed. And the presentation of hip hop has been something that's a lot more, I guess, falling into stereotypes, you know, about, you know, violence, over sexuality, drugs, you know, misogynist, you know, and this is not hip hop. Do you know what I mean? Anybody that knows what hip hop is understands that hip hop isn't about that. But the I'd say Hollywood is about that. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of this stuff about violence and misogyny, it is not restricted to hip hop culture. This is the culture of media generally. You know, you go Hollywood, you know, that's all you ever see, just violence, gun, 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 bam, bam. I mean, I saw John Wick the other day. I've never seen that film. But the amount of killing and death and, like, you know, just shooting in the head and stuff. But you don't attribute those aspects to general culture. Do you know what I mean? People want to focus on hip hop culture alone.
But it's entertainment, isn't it? They just say it's entertainment, but essentially it's still violence.
Yes. So I'm down with the peace, love, unity, and having fun side of things. And that's what we try to push at Breakin Convention.
So how has the rehearsal process been?
Distant.
How are you coping with that?
It is what it is. And I mean, I'm going to Sadler's Wells today to watch A.I.M rehearse later on tonight. And I'll probably just stick my face in to some of the other artists that are working at the building today. Boy Blue, I'm not really worried about, and they rehearse elsewhere anyway. But I don't need to worry about them guys at all.
No.
But yeah, and Kenrick, when I spoke to him recently, he was very clear about the social distancing measures that he's putting into his rehearsal process.
Right.
They've got the floor all set out in these very clear spaces, so dancers don't actually work on top of each other. So respect to Kenrick, they're really paying attention to this. The duet, on the other hand, they've created a bubble because it's quite an intimate duet, do you know what I mean? And I think the same goes for A.I.M as well. But you know, I don't know, I just think it's just for lack of a better term, a bit of a pain up the bottom.
It is, but at least you're because I was on tenterhooks because we didn't know if London was going to be in tier 2 or tier 3, and if we had been in tier 3, this conversation wouldn't be happening because we would be closed. Theatre would be closed. So I was still, even though it's a pain in the arse, at least you're able to put on a production.
Exactly. And if anything, Breakin Convention, we're putting a lot of energy into digital dance. Yeah. Right. We're gonna organize a few commissions, so keep your eyes open, anybody out there. But we're gonna be launching some projects that have got very clear directives, but it's all focused on making video as opposed to doing things live. So, you know, we're trying to adapt to this new normal.
Yeah, because I was actually going to ask, like, what would you say are the positives that have come out of 2020 in terms of adapting the dance sector to a digital format, basically?
Okay, so ignoring all the negatives, positively speaking, I would definitely say that TikTok has amazingly brought all of these amazing little dance ideas to the general public. So, you know, dance is becoming something that is articulated by many people. Do you know what I mean? So that's a good thing. I guess me making films, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for lockdown. And now I've found a new passion. For example, after that film, I was asked by Sadler's Wells to do the finale of their gala based upon some of the ideas that I did for Our Bodies Back. You can still see the gala online. Yeah. And I create the finale, and it's a piece called Around the World. Okay. So I guess, film, I've become a filmmaker, strangely.
That's definitely a positive. And what was 2020 supposed to look like, apart from Breakin Convention? Did you have any other projects in the pipeline that you should have been doing?
Yeah, I mean, I was meant to be working on a piece of dance in Uganda.
Oh.
You know, I was just mad about that. Yeah. I was meant to be going to Ghana for my brother's, the anniversary of my brother's death. That didn't happen. What else? I was meant to be doing something in Peru. Sorry? Yeah, I was meant to be going to South Africa for my wife's parent, my father and mother-in-law. They were having their 50th anniversary. Missed that. Do you know what I mean? There's just so many things that 2020 just really messed up. But you know, we've got to remain positive, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna let these things get me down. I've seen how lockdowns put a lot of pressure on people's mental health and stuff. Yeah. And I'm not trying to go there, man. I'm trying to keep positive, you know, go out, get your fresh air, go for little runs and stuff, you know what I mean? And eat healthily, do you know what I mean? Because have you noticed the news, they don't tell us how to stay healthy. All they want to tell us is that we're gonna die.
Or that a vaccine is coming.
Say that again?
Or the vaccine is coming, so.
Yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny, like the amount of people that are recovered from this without no vaccine. So why we need a vaccine? Sorry, it don't make no sense to me. But anyway, you know, I don't want to get too political because this is all about peace, love, unity, and having fun.
Yeah, but I was going to ask, what has been a comfort to you during 2020? Your wife cooks amazing food, which I've seen on Instagram, yet to taste, but one day maybe. But yeah, what have been some positive experiences or nourishing experiences that you've had in 2020 that you wouldn't have had if it was just business as usual and there wasn't a pandemic? What's been uplifting for you and your support system?
A lot of the stuff which I guess was not suggested that we do, for example, the mass protests that happened around the world as a result of the murder of George Floyd. Yeah. So that was brilliant. There was a real sense of coming together. There was a real sense of this lockdown's doing us in, let's just get out. And there was a lot of close proximity, loads of close proximity, yeah? But there was no spike 2 weeks after that whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so why? Hello? What's all of this, you know, brilliant knowledge that we're getting from the Imperial College about? Do you know what I mean? Yet there was no explanation as to why there was no massive spike at that time. And at that time, we were still in that early lockdown.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do get upset at the amount of blame that we are getting about what we're doing, and we're getting the blame for these new spikes and this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean? And it all sounds a bit fishy to me.
Yeah. Did you do, and so you went on the marches, and what other positive things did you do in 2020?
I was doing a lot of getting vegetable boxes and then delivering them to my family members who weren't able to move around a lot. You know, sorry?
That's lovely. That's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, you know, some of them, they're not well, do you know what I mean? And they're fearful to leave the house, do you know what I mean? And whereas I don't have that fear. So, you know, I made a point of doing a lot of regular shopping and yeah, so yeah, that felt good actually, do you know what I mean? And I just think that, you know, there's been a lot of generosity in this time period that I've noticed, and long may that continue. Yeah,
definitely. I definitely agree with that. Oh, you've gone.
Oh, I'm coming back. I am coming back. Somebody tried to call me rudely.
You're back. Amazing. And looking forward, what are your hopes and aspirations for 2021?
2021, I hope that we are all going to be physically closer. I hope that this pandemic is over, and you know, for all of those that are relying on the vaccine, good luck. For all of those that are not relying on the vaccine, that are getting over it, well done. And you know, I just think that we are going to enter a much healthier lifestyle, I'd like to think. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. People drinking their green juices and stuff, and having a regular exercise, and working in groups to train and do yoga and stuff like that. And I think that there is a spiritual awakening that's gonna happen as a result of this, and it's happening already. So long may that continue. And yeah, I mean, it's hard because I can be a bit cynical about these things, but fundamentally there's a positivity that always guides my decisions and choices. So I hope for the best.
That's very positive. And my last question is, why should people come to see Social Distancing this weekend?
Why should we see it? Aren't you zoomed out? Aren't you bored of watching art through this tiny little screen? Aren't you upset that you can't be in another environment for once and enjoy some art? You know, I've just been watching the football lately, and it was really good to see crowds in the stadiums. Do you know what I mean? So
and that energy as well.
And that energy, you know what I mean? And rather than watching something and enjoying it and having a little clap to yourself, you can be part of a group of people all sharing your appreciation of something together. You know what I mean? That can only be healing.
Yeah, that's a good enough reason, I think, to come out of our house.
Are you coming?
Yes, I'm hoping to come on Saturday.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Excellent. You are very welcome.
Thank you. And then you'll be there, so hopefully I'll see you as well.
Well, can you not leave without saying goodbye, maybe? Because immediately after the show, because we're going to file everybody out real quickly, I'm going to make a point of being outside and just connecting with people. You know, be careful of me. I'm a bit of a serial hugger, so you might want to watch out.
Yeah, I've been really terrible at that. If I haven't seen you for a long time, all the rules go out of the window. I'm just like, I have to hug you. I have to. My daughter's obsessed by hugging at the moment because I told her that we have to hug for a minimum of 20 seconds because it lowers your blood pressure and it calms you and it's healing. So now she's like 10, 11, 12. So I get it. Hugging is important, but also, yeah, we have to keep our distance. So it's a struggle. Enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you for your time. It was really lovely to speak to you after all these years. And thank you to your lovely wife for sprucing you up before you came on the video.
And thank you for Afridiziak. Yeah, it's a very, very important thing that you're doing, and you're highlighting stories that aren't shared enough. Do you know what I mean? So keep doing the great work.
I will. Thank you very much for your kind words. Take care.
Take care.